Good evening. Paws. I'm Mark Spillane. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sports Paws. I'm Mark Spillane.
And I'm Jon Siegler. We begin with an update on the situation regarding Rick Seeley and the Quinnipiac women's hockey program.
Nearly 2 weeks ago, sources told Q30 Sports that Seeley would soon be out at Quinnipiac. The following day, the university released a statement confirming the report by announcing Seeley's resignation.
Following the resignation, multiple former Clarkson players and one of the players' fathers stepped forward with accusations of abuse against Seeley. The alleged incidents occurred during Seeley's tenure as head coach at Clarkson. Here's one of the players, Courtney Bills, describing a particular incident with Seeley. Be aware the audio we are about to play contains graphic content. Take a listen.
There was times where he would pick helmets around in the locker room, punch the chalkboard, slamming doors, screaming in your face. I remember one time I lifted my leg when a slap shot was coming at me, and I got to the bench and he grabbed me by the jersey and, just how he probably did the same thing to this other girl. And he said, if you do that one more time, I'm going to cut your legs off. And it got to the point where when you would go in the locker room between periods, you would take off your helmet, all that. I wouldn't take my helmet off. I have never been so scared in my life.
Bills' father, David Bills, provided Q30 Sports with documents related to the situation. Here's one example. The letter is from Clarkson University President Anthony Collins responding to Bills after Bills had sent Collins a letter containing detailed description of incidents from several players on the team. Collins says, quote, "There has been a lot of time devoted to this matter. Appropriate actions have been taken, and I believe it is time to move forward. For all involved, I hope this can be achieved," end quote. You can find more detail in the full piece at Q30television.com.
And now following that report, Quinnipiac Athletic Director Jack McDonald then told the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network that he had no knowledge of the accusations towards Seeley at Clarkson. To talk more about the story, we now bring in Q30 Sports reporter Jon Alba. Jon, you've been reporting this story along with Maury Hirschgordon. Can you just talk about Clarkson's reactions to this? In the letter that Collins sent to Bills, he said that appropriate actions were taken. Can you speak about the appropriate actions that were taken?
Yeah, Jordan, Q30 Sports reached out to Clarkson administration following getting our hands on this documentation, and Clarkson administration said it would not comment on anything related to past employees or current employees. Obviously, Rick Seeley started his Division I coaching career at Clarkson. This could be a little bit of an ugly situation here. It mentions appropriate action that was taken against Seeley, but it doesn't say what that is. Now, Q30 Sports was told by David Bills that through the grapevine it had been heard that Seeley went through anger management potentially, but outside of that, there's no proof that he received any more punishment for any of these alleged crimes.
Now, Jon, we just mentioned that Quinnipiac Athletic Director Jack McDonald had told the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network that he had no idea about what had happened at Clarkson with Seeley and the allegations. Do you think there's a possibility that Quinnipiac may have known? Is it possible for them to have known?
Of course it's possible that Quinnipiac could have known. College athletics is a deep system. That doesn't necessarily mean that Jack McDonald knew, though, because there's so many people that word has to go through. There's so many people. It starts low, then goes up and up and up and up. Now, Quinnipiac did use an outside search firm, in order to make the Rick Seeley hiring that it has also been using for other openings in the past and present. So it's very possible that that firm could have been made aware, but Quinnipiac not necessarily.
Now, can you talk about what will come from this report?
In regards to who, Jordan?
To Quinnipiac.
Well, regarding Quinnipiac, the Bobcats upper echelon in the administration has to be fully aware that everyone is going to naturally assume that Quinnipiac knew and that Quinnipiac had all of this stuff happen at the school as well. So Quinnipiac needs to make sure that it's being transparent and is investigating the matter. Now, Jack McDonald did tell QBSN that there had been minor incidents. The school has to look into those minor incidents further and at least many would assume try to make that public. Now, I don't believe that's going to be the route the school is going to take. Cass Turner has been named the interim head coach. That's where all the focus is going to go. All the players like her. Administration seemingly likes her. That's where the focus is going to be.
Jon, you mentioned that McDonald had mentioned minor incidents, as he put it, along with the things that happened with Rick Seeley here at Quinnipiac. But that came right after he released a statement praising Seeley for his time here at Quinnipiac. That seems like a bit of a contradiction. What say you about that?
Well, as Jack said in his comment to QBSN, he wasn't aware, or at least he allegedly wasn't aware of what went down at Clarkson. Now, what went public about what went down at Clarkson, or what allegedly went down at Clarkson, came out after this initial statement was made once Quinnipiac and Seeley parted ways, as Seeley resigned. As I said, Mark, it's very possible that Jack McDonald was not aware, but if he was, then people are going to start asking more questions. And all it's going to take is for one person to open their mouth and say, oh, this happened at Quinnipiac. Because if that happened, then all the dominoes could fall from there.
All right, thanks, John, for joining us. Now, be sure to stay with Q30 Sports as this story continues to develop. Now, we're going to take a quick break here on Sports Paws. When we come back, we're going to get into all the spring sport action that's been going on at Quinnipiac. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It was a big week for Quinnipiac men's for the baseball team as well as the men's lacrosse team, who clinched a spot in the conference tournament. We'll give you all the details after the break. Stay with us.
Looking for debate and analysis of your favorite Quinnipiac sports?
Attacking and pressing. I mean,
right, and it's not and what they're doing isn't working.
But unfortunately, they couldn't finish the Colgate game. So I think definitely those are the keys that the Bobcats need to watch.
Had guys that can take the ball in the latter stages of the second half.
I think those
Even
are
with limited minutes.
In the MAC, they play the run and gun style.
Q30's and QBSN's Bobcat Breakdown brings all that to you and more. Live every Monday night at 8:30, tune in to see analysis of your Bobcats from the week before. Every sport from every season, it's all right here on Bobcat Breakdown.
Welcome to A Sheer Sensation, North Haven's premier cosmetology service, located at 140 Washington Avenue, minutes from Hamden. We offer an array of services from basic cuts and colors to lash extensions and formaldehyde-free keratin treatments. We also provide hair chalk and styling for men. When you spend $60, your Q card will get you 10% off. Call us at 203-239-6477 to make your next appointment at A Sheer Sensation.
Welcome to Joya Spa and Salon in Hamden. Whether you want a new look or the perfect wedding day hair, come to us for complete hair and nail care, cuts, styles, updos, extensions, and beautiful dimensional hair color, as well as manis and pedis, acrylics, gels, and shellac. Treat yourself to a facial, a peel, or microdermabrasion. Relax with a variety of massage techniques, including Swedish and hot stone massage. Joya Spa and Salon. Call today.
Looking for debate and analysis of your favorite Quinnipiac sports?
Attacking and pressing. I mean,
Right, and it's not and what they're doing isn't working.
But unfortunately, they couldn't finish the Colgate game. So I think definitely those are the keys that the Bobcats need to watch.
Had guys that can take the ball in the latter stages of the second half.
I think those
Even
are
with limited minutes.
In the MAC, they play the run and gun style.
Q30's and QBSN's Bobcat Breakdown brings all that to you and more. Live every Monday night at 8:30, tune in to see analysis of your Bobcats from the week before. Every sport from every season, it's all right here on Bobcat Breakdown.
Welcome to A Sheer Sensation, North Haven's premier cosmetology service, located at 140 Washington Avenue, minutes from Hamden. We offer an array of services from basic cuts and colors to lash extensions and formaldehyde-free keratin treatments. We also provide hair chalk and styling for men. When you spend $60, your Q card will get you 10% off. Call us at 203-239-6477 to make your next appointment at A Sheer Sensation.
Welcome to Joya Spa and Salon in Hamden. Whether you want a new look or the perfect wedding day hair, come to us for complete hair and nail care, cuts, styles, updos, extensions, and beautiful dimensional hair color, as well as manis and pedis, acrylics, gels, and shellac. Treat yourself to a facial, a peel, or microdermabrasion. Relax with a variety of massage techniques, including Swedish and hot stone massage. Joya Spa and Salon. Call today.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Quinnipiac baseball kicked off its homestand last week with an out-of-conference victory over Northeastern. The Bobcats topped the Huskies 5-1 behind 5 1/3 shutout innings by Charlie Murray and home runs off the bats of Vin Galletti and Lou Iannotti.
The Bobcats came home for a doubleheader in Fairfield on Saturday. Here's game one. We're going to start off in the top of the 7th with the Bobcats up 3-1. Matt Crispino, he's going to hit a ground ball to short. Matt Batten's going to decide to eat this one. Crispino's safe at first, and Alex Witkus scores to make it a 1-run lead for the Bobcats. Next batter is Sebastian Salvo, and he hits a shot to deep center field, and this was going to be out of reach of center fielder Mike Palladino. That brings Crispino home, and this ball game is tied. Now this game is that play is also going to end the day for Bobcats starter Justin Thomas. He had a good outing up until that point. He leaves the game with the game tied. Now we're going to fast forward to the 10th inning. It's Mike Palladino at the plate, and he hits a ground ball to short, a throw to first, and an error on the play. The game thought to be over. There were 2 outs there. Palladino is safe. Now with runners on first and second, the ball is skied in the air, and you're not going to be able to see it on camera, but the ball drops as 3 Stags converge on it, and they collide with each other, and the Bobcats win it in extras 4-3.
So that's what happened in game 1. We'll move on to game 2 of the doubleheader. Bobcats, as Jordan just mentioned, taking game 1, but things wouldn't go so smoothly here in game 2. Jumping right in the 2nd inning after a good first inning for Bobcats starter Wyatt Hamilton, just simply loses control. He's going to walk the opening batter of the inning for the Stags. Not so bad, but then he backs it up with another walk. Now there's 2 on, nobody out for the Stags. And then he loads the bases with a 3rd straight walk. You're not going to see this too often, Jordan. He's actually going to walk the bases loaded and then walk a run in 4 in a row, but he wasn't done quite yet. Simply could not find the strike zone. As you see the first run coming in there for the Stags. Walk number 5 in a row for Wyatt Hamilton. Bobcats pushing 2 across without really making the Stags do much. And that would be it for Hamilton. He would leave the game. John Delaney takes him out of the game. The Bobcats, unfortunately for him, would not be able to recover 8-4. Stags taking game 2 of the doubleheader over Quinnipiac.
All right, now let's head over to the rubber game of the series on Sunday, Game 3, Fairfield, Quinnipiac. We're going to start off in the top of the 1st with a man on 1st and 2nd. Matt Crispino at the plate. He's going to drive this one to left center field for a double, and that's going to drive in a run to put the Stags up 1-0. Head to the bottom of the 4th, man on 3rd, and it's Matt Ostreicher for the Bobcats. He hits a line drive single past the shortstop, and that's going to bring home a run to tie it up at 1. And now, heading to the bottom of the 8th, bases loaded, Bobcats threatening, it's Ben Gibson. He hits a fly ball out deep to left center, and the ball is going to be caught, but that's going to bring home a run, and the Bobcats go on to win 2-1.
On the softball diamond, Quinnipiac had a busy week, including a doubleheader last week versus Holy Cross. The Bobcats pounded the Crusaders 10-1 in the first game, as 5 different Quinnipiac hitters had at least 2 hits, while Hannah Lindsley allowed just 1 run over 4 innings to earn the victory.
Well, the tables were turned for game 2 of the doubleheader as Holy Cross dominated the Bobcats 9-1. Bobcats starter Casey Herzog looked good through 3 innings, but it all fell apart in the 6th. In a 6th-run 4th inning for Holy Cross. And the Bobcats returned home to host Mac leading Manhattan. Quinnipiac dropped game 1 of the doubleheader to the Jaspers. Manhattan was down 6-4 in the 6th inning with the bases loaded, and Brianna Matazinski won the game with 1 swing of the bat, hitting a grand slam off Hannah Lindsley to give them the 6-4 lead. Matazinski drove in all 6 runs for the Jaspers. Now, Mark, what happened in game 2?
Well, the Jaspers completed the sweep of the doubleheader with a 3-2 victory in the late game. Manhattan got strong pitching performance out of Matazinski, who held QU to just 1 run over 6 innings. Meanwhile, Sidney Roby failed to complete the first inning while allowing 3 runs for the Bobcats, and it was all the Jaspers would need to take the victory.
Now Bobcats facing off against Marist in game 1 of a doubleheader. And now we're just gonna go to the bottom of the 7th inning with the game tied at 2, and it's Jordan Palucci. She's gonna hit a walk-off 2-run homer, scoring Nikki Barba. Bobcats go on to win 4-2.
And in game 2 of that doubleheader, we're gonna jump to that right now. It was Sidney Roby on the mound for Quinnipiac, and she had a pretty successful couple of innings here. She gets Samantha Riley to strike out looking in the first, and in the second inning, she gets a ground ball right back to her, fires to first for the out, and in the third inning, the same thing. Holding Marist to no runs over the first 3 frames. Jordan 1-0 Quinnipiac, but now we're going to go to the top of the 6th. 1-0 QU. Still runners on first and third for Marist, and it's Colleen McWilliams going to single to right field. Miranda Perez going to come around and score for Marist. Going to the bottom of the 7th, now Marist up 2-1. They're going to have runners on first and second. Bobcats looking to get out of any more trouble, and it's Abby Johnson who's going to single to right, and Maria Asher is going to come tie the game. So the Bobcats able to get things back even. As you see, Asher just barely getting ahead of the throw. Tied at 2, heading to extra innings. After zeros put up on the board in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, we'll head to the 12th inning now. Runner on third for Marist, 1 out. Rebecca Freeman, sac fly to short right field. Duddy's going to score to give Marist the lead. And just like that, 3-2 heading to the bottom of the 12th inning. It's Marist in front, leading Quinnipiac. Bottom of the 12th now, 2 out, no one on. Roby, the starting pitcher for Quinnipiac, pops one up foul territory, caught. And just like that, Marist wins the game, taking it 3-2 in extras. Now, when we talk about men's basketball, the names that usually pop up are Zaid Hurst and Usman Drame. One name that we didn't mention too often before this past season was forward Justin Harris. Harris was a mainstay in the Bobcats starting lineup this past season, but the road to get there was a difficult one. Q30 Sports' John Small takes a look at the road from bench warmer to starter. Here's an excerpt from the piece.
It was only a matter of time until number 22 got that starting spot. After solid performances in the first 2 games, Harris would go on to start Game 3 at Albany, and he would never let go. He would record a career high at Fairfield, scoring 23 points, and he would continue to be an integral part of the team, never relinquishing his starting spot for the rest of the year. What do you take away from these 4 years?
Just persistence. I mean, coming from the situation that I was in, where I was literally in mothballs, sitting at the end of the bench every day, and it got to a point, my first 3 years, where I came to games knowing that I wasn't going to play, no matter what happened, no matter if somebody got in foul trouble, if somebody fouled out, or if we weren't blowing anybody out by 30 plus points, I wouldn't get into the game until the last couple of minutes. But then realizing that I wasn't satisfied with that, I wanted more out of what my college experience, and I wanted to be able to, I played college basketball and I did well.
Do you have any regrets from the 4 years here at Quinnipiac?
Any regrets? I guess I could pinpoint times, maybe, saying that I could have went harder in practice, did this and that. So I guess my only regret was not playing sooner, or not doing what it took to play sooner, because sitting around on the bench for 3 years is not fun, no matter what sport you're playing. So it's like, you gotta understand that these moments are short and you gotta cherish them, but you also gotta understand that you can't get too excited and enveloped in the emotions of everything, that you let it just zoom right by and you don't realize what's going on.
Harris is now searching for opportunities to play overseas and to continue to pursue the sport that he says means everything to him. For Q30 Sports, I'm John Small.
To check out the full piece, head on over to Q30television.com. And it's time for us to step aside, but once again, when we return, we'll take a close look at the acrobatics and tumbling team, and we'll also take a look at men's lacrosse, see how both teams fared on the lacrosse field in the MAC against a couple of MAC opponents. Stay with us.
That was then, this is now. Don't be just a number.
Hello, welcome to Chameleon.
At Chameleon Hair Color Cafe and Spa, it's all about what makes you feel beautiful. Their professional team is dedicated to helping you reach your customized beauty goals from your head to your toes. Chameleon Hair Color Cafe and Spa, where it's all about what makes you feel beautiful.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. 2 years ago, the Quinnipiac Acrobatics and Tumbling team fell just short of a national title to Oregon right here in Hamden.
Then last year was Azusa Pacific that eliminated Quinnipiac in the national semifinals in California.
But the Bobcats are gearing up for another try in the national tournament this coming weekend, and Q30's Stephanie Fasano spoke with Quinnipiac captain Steph Palange about another chance for the national title.
This Friday starts the battle for the 2015 Acrobatics and Tumbling National Championship at Fairmont State's Gym in West Virginia. To claim the title, the top 8 teams will perform, and the NCATA champion will have to compete in 3 meets in just 48 hours.
Being able to be placed 5th going into nationals is very good.
Quinnipiac's captain, Steph Palange, says the team has grown from their first meet, and even though the beginning of the season is always a struggle, the girls have come together.
Before every meet, we determine what we need to do in that meet, and we focus on that. And every time we pick something that we need to get better on.
And they'll have to be at their best, with possibly matching up against powerhouses, such as the 4-time national champion, the Oregon Ducks, and this year's undefeated #1 seed, the Baylor Bears.
It's weird to see that Oregon's not first, but I think it's cool, and I think it's what our sport needs to see a change like that. It's not just one team that's the best. There are many of us that are talented and can do just as much as those people, and I think it's a good change that the sport's going to see.
In assembling this year's team, the coaches pulled athletes from all different sports.
We gained, I believe, about 8 freshmen with all unique talents and continued talent from the past years. I grew up doing gymnastics and went into cheerleading, and this sport really is about getting the best score you possibly can for your team, and it's no longer about yourself. It's just like one of those things of understanding that it's not an individualized sport anymore, and you really have all these teammates to back you up and to be there for you, and you are there for them.
The Bobcats will take on Azusa Pacific this Friday afternoon in hopes to advance to the semifinals. I'm Stephanie Fasano, Q30 Sports.
Women's lacrosse team taking on Siena at the QU lacrosse field on senior day. And Bobcats getting out to a fast start here. Here's one goal from Danielle LaRocca. And here's a second. That's Kelly Babstock, 2-0 Bobcats. Kathleen DeVito scores there. And Kathleen DeVito again. Bobcats up 4-0 early. But that wouldn't last through the whole game. We're going to jump to the second half. 15 minutes left. It's Erin Mossop for Siena. Scoring past Sam Tilts. Siena, that puts Siena up 11-8. They go on to win 14-9.
Moving over to men's lacrosse now, Jordan. Quinnipiac taking on Monmouth up at the QU lacrosse field here in Hamden. We're going to skip right to the third quarter. Monmouth with a 7-3 lead. Not looking good right now for the Bobcats in this one, but that will change. Matt Keicha has the ball behind the net. He's going to find a way in front. He scores, but Quinnipiac still down 7-4. 2 minutes later now, Connor Meth with the ball for Quinnipiac. Brings it up the field. Nate Nibbelink's going to get it from him, and he's going to fire a rocket into the goal. 7-5 now QU trails. They're chipping away. Now we move to the fourth quarter. Michael Sagal finds Ryan Keenan, who eventually works it down low for Matt Deal, and he's going to be able to put one home right over the top of the goaltending net there. And Quinnipiac going down by 1, 7-6. 2 minutes later, Sagal moving to his left, finds an opening and just drops one in there, and all of a sudden we're tied. Bobcats and Hawks tied 7-7. Minutes later, Bobcats looking to take the lead. Sagal with a quick pass finds Bryant Fellman his second goal of the game, and the Bobcats suddenly lead 8-7, and just then a little bit less than a minute left. Siegler once more pushes the goaltender Garrett Conaway out of his net. He puts one in, his second of the game, and the Bobcats all of a sudden have a 2-goal lead, and that is how things would finish with them in front. 9-8 after Tyler Keene rips one home, but not enough. Bobcats clinch a number 2 spot in the upcoming MAC tournament. Here's Quinnipiac head coach Eric Beckett after the game.
The last 3 games, we really focused on sticking to the plan and not getting hung up on scores. And we talked about no emotions. And the Manhattan game, the Canisius game, we were down, and we don't worry about the clock till the last 15 minutes of the game, and really the last 5. So these guys have stuck to the plan. They haven't doubted themselves, and they've really done a nice job the last month. To be back in the playoffs is good. I've had this monkey on my back for 1 straight calendar year, so I'm glad to get him off and move back to business. I think we just got to stick to the plan. I mean, we've shortened practices. We're really sticking to the meat and potatoes of what we're doing, and I love this team. I believe in them, and as you noticed on game day, I kind of just let things ride along, and they do the job for us. So I'm very proud of them. I love the team.
The men's tennis squad picked up 2 victories over Stony Brook and St. Peter's last week before dropping its first conference match to Monmouth on Saturday and its second MAC loss to Marist on Monday. The QU victory over Stony Brook was a historic one for the Bobcats' Eric Ambrosio, as the senior set the program's single-season wins record by picking up his 39th victory of the year. But the losses dropped the Bobcats to 3rd place and sets up a rematch between QU and Marist in the MAC semifinals on Saturday.
It was a milestone week for women's tennis senior Jacqueline Rayner. On Friday, she won her 26th doubles match of the year, setting a program record for doubles wins in a single season. She wasn't finished there, though. The next day, she hit the court against Monmouth to record her 166th career win, making her the program's all-time wins leader. The team won matches against Marist, St. Peter's, and Monmouth this week to remain undefeated in MAC play. Now, that's all we have for you tonight on Sports Paws. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to follow Q30 Sports on Twitter at Q30 Sports and check out our website at Q30television.com.
And be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Sports Paws. For Mark Spillane, I'm Jordan Siegler.
And we leave you with some of this week's highlights of the week. Good night, everyone.